This is Lily de Silva, Lesson 4. I'll first read out the words in the vocabulary and comment on just a couple of them. Though I emphasize as before, don't stress about learning the vocabulary by heart, just focus on getting the grammar right and looking at the forms of words, why words have those forms, the shapes of sentences and the construction of sentences. But here we are with the vocabulary. Dhivara, Macha, Pitaka. You'll recognize that word, the Tripitaka, the three baskets of the Pali Canon. That's the same word, Pitaka, basket. Amacha, Upassica, Pasada, Dharaka, Sartaka, Rajaka, Sappa. That Sappa, in Sanskrit, Sarpa, S-A-R-P-A, Sarpa, is cognate with our word serpent. Panha, Sukha, also Suba, parrot, and Sukara, also Varaha, pig. Varaha, by the way, cognate with our word a boar. Patati, Dhovati, Ichhati, Dasati, Puchhati, Pakosati, Khadati, Hanati, Otarati, Nikhamati. Otarati I mentioned in the previous lesson. In Sanskrit, Avatarati, for instance, we get avatar, one who descends from the divine realm to the human realm. Now, this lesson deals with the ablative case of masculines in the short a stem. In the ablative, the most common form of it in the singular is just to lengthen the a of the stem to a long a. That long a, incidentally, corresponds to the Sanskrit ending at. So in Pali, the T drops off and it just becomes an a. Here now we have an ambiguity between the ablative singular and now the nominative plural. Both will end in a. In Sanskrit, there's no ambiguity. They're different. In Pali, that potential ambiguity is there, but the context will almost invariably tell you which it is. I mean, you'll find in practice it has to be one or the other. So in reality, there should be no confusion. There are two alternative endings. Instead of, or in addition to the a, you've got the amaha, and you also have the asma. You will occasionally find those forms. There's no ambiguity there because there are no. It's only in these amha asma forms you will find only in the ablative singular of the a stem. So examples here are given of nara, naramha, narasma, all mean exactly the same thing. And matula, matulamha, matulasma. And over the page, kasaka, kasakamha, and kasakasma. In the plural, the two endings, by far the most common one is ehi, but you will also find ebhi, which is from an older form of the language, from the Old Vedic. And you will note here now that there is a potential ambiguity because this ehi and ebhi are exactly the same as for the instrumental plural. So the instrumental and ablative plural of the a declension are the same. So occasionally an ambiguity can arise there, but as usual, the context will usually resolve the ambiguity. Now, examples in sentence formation. This is section 3 on page 12. Yachako nramha bhattam yachati. So yachako, the beggar, yachati, begs, bhattam, food or rice, naramha, from the man. Putto matulamha panyam puchati. Written here, not perfect English. The son asks a question from the uncle. In English we'd say he asks his uncle a question or asks a question of the uncle. But in Pali that goes in the ablative. The person you're asking a question of goes in the ablative, as if it's from. So Putto matulamha panyam puchati. And the third one, Kassako rukkasma patati. The farmer falls off the tree or out of the tree, so falls from the tree. In the plural then, yachaka narehi, which would also be narebhi, but most commonly yachaka narehi bhattam yachanti. Putta matulehi panye puchanti. And kassaka lukhehi patanti. Farmers fall out of trees. We'll now go through exercise 4. As before, I will read the sentence in Pali, and then I suggest you pause to try and work it out for yourself, and then I'll explain what it means. But do remember that even more importantly in looking at the words and remembering the words, you see just from the shape of the sentence and the shape of the words what function each word has. And for example, Chora gamamha pabbatam dhavanti. Even if you didn't know any of the words, if you know the grammar, you would see that chora looks like a nominative plural noun, and you look to the end of the sentence to see the verb, because that's where the verb normally goes, and you will see indeed that there's a third plural, they verb, dhavanti anti. So you would come to the conclusion, even if you didn't know what these words meant, that chora is a plural noun and it's the subject of the plural verb dhavanti. And then you would see the pabbatam looks like the direct object. It's in the accusative, the ending, direct object of the verb. Well, here it is, but it's a verb of motion. So what you're going to in Pali is treated as a direct object. And from the gamamha, then you would see, well, with that unique ending amha, it has to be an ablative. So the somethings are doing something directly to the pabbatam, but from the gama. Now, yes, chora dhavanti, the thieves are running. Gamamha pabbatam, away from the village towards the mountain. The thieves are running out of the village to the mountain. Number 2, darako matulasma udanam yachati. Darako, the boy, is yachati, begging for rice, udanam matulasma, from his uncle. Kumaro sopanam ha patati. The sopana is a stairway, so the boy falls down the stairs. And we can say it looks like from the stairs. In Pali they would say unless of course he fell sideways off the stairs, but he just if you fall down the stairs, in Pali you express it as falling off the stairs. So kumaru sopanha patati. Number 4, matula sartake dovanti. So the uncles are washing sartake, accusative plural, the clothes. Divara pitake himache aharanti. Now here it's the basket style of catching fish. So the divara, the fishermen, aharanti, are taking mache fishes, pitakehi, out of or from the baskets. Upassica samanehi saddhim viharasmani kamanti. The Upassica, That's translated as the lay devotee. In fact, in English, we just often use the word Upassica. So the lay devotees, nikkamanti, are emerging. Literally, nikkamanti actually literally means to step out, just means to emerge, to come out. Viharasma, coming out of the vihara. Samarnehi saddhim, in the company of, or just with the monks. Brahmano kakachen rukkam chindati. This one seems to belong to an earlier lesson of this. The Brahman is cutting a tree, kakachena, with a saw. Kumara mittehi saha bhupalam passanti. The boys are looking at the king with their friends. Varnijo asena saddhim pabbatasma uruhati. Now, you may remember in the previous lesson, exercise 3.9, you get kasako avartam uruhati. That's the farmer is going down into the pit, and that's uruhati as a verb of motion can take the accusative. So avartam uruhati, descending into the pit, in the accusative. Here we've got that same verb, uruhati, coming down or climbing down, expressed here in the ablative, from the mountain. Just as in English we'd say coming down the mountain and coming down from the mountain, we could say both. It's no huge difference in meaning. You can do the same in Pali as well. So Varnijo asena saddhim pabbatasma uruhati. So it's the merchant is coming down the mountain with his horse. Yachako kasakasma sonam yachati. So the beggar is sonam yachati, is begging for a dog. Kasakasma, from the farmer. Sappa pabbatehi gamam otaranti. Now here we've got otaranti governing actually both nouns. So sappa, the snakes, the serpents, otaranti, coming down, descending, pabbatehi, from the mountains, gamam, that's the accusative motion, to the village. So the snakes are coming down, pabbatehi, from the mountains in the ablative, and gamam, to the village in the accusative. Amacha sarehi mige vijjanti. The ministers, vijjanti, are shooting mige, accusative plural, deer, sarehi, with arrows. Choro gamamha sakatena sartake harati. Choro, the thief, harati, is taking, sartake, clothes, he's just stolen some clothes. So the thief is taking the clothes, gamamha, out of the village, from the village, away from the village, sakatena, in a cart. In Pali you'd use the instrumental here, with a cart, because he's using a cart to do it. So choro gamamha sakatena sartake harati. Bhupalo amachehi saddhim ratena pasadamagachati. Here we have another sentence where we have an instrumental with the postposition saddhim and a pure instrumental. So the bhupalo, as I explained in the earlier lesson, the king means the protector of the earth, the protector of the land. The bhupalo, pasadamagachati, is coming to the palace, amachehi saddhim, with the ministers, with his ministers, ratena, in a chariot or by chariot. Sukra padehi avarte khananti. So the sukara, the pigs, avarte, kananti, of digging holes, digging pits, padehi, with the feet, with their feet. Kumaro sakayahehi saha sartake dhovati. So the boy, Kumaro, sartake dhovati, is washing the clothes. Sahayakehi saha, with friends, with his friends. Samana gamamha upasakehi saddhim nikkamanti. So samana, the monks, nikkamanti, are coming out or leaving. Gamamha is coming out from the village. So the ablative there, from the village. Upasakehi saddhim, with the upasakas, with the lay followers. Kukuro pitakamha macham khadati. So kukuro, the dog, macham khadati, is eating a fish. Pitaka basket, pitaka ablative, from the basket. So the dog evidently has nicked a fish out of the basket and is eating it. Mitto puttamha sunakamyachati. So the friend is begging, yachati, maybe begging is too strong a word, doesn't always necessarily mean a strong urging to give. You know, please let me have it. Mitto yachati is begging the boy, puttamha, the son, sunakam, for a dog. Note here that what you're asking for goes in the accusative. Sunakam yachati is asking for the dog, and the person you're asking for it from, person you're asking to give it to you, that will go in the ablative. So you're asking the thing from somebody. So that way of putting it in English then is reflected in Pali. Mitto, literally mitto puttamha, the friend from the son, from the boy. Sunakamyachati is begging for the dog, asking for the dog. Buddho savake puchati. So the Buddha is asking the disciples. It could have two meanings, actually. It could mean he's asking for disciples, like, please, I haven't got enough disciples, I need some more. That could be one way of interpreting it, if the context allowed, but the more normal meaning is just he's asking them questions. He's putting questions to the disciples. Buddho savake puchati. Amacha panditehi panyhe puchanti. So the ministers, panyhe puchanti, are asking questions of the pandits, of the scholars, the learned people. So here, the panyhe puchanti, they are asking questions. That goes in the direct accusative. Panyhe panditehi, in Pali we'd say from the pandits, we'd say asking questions of the pandits, or asking the pandits questions. In Pali, puchanti, they are panyhe panditehi, asking questions from the pandits. Rajako sahayena saha sartakam dhovati. Rajako, the washerman, sahayena saha, with his friend, sartakam dhovati, is washing the garment. Whether Rajako is a washerman, the truer mean actually is a dyer, as in a person who dyes clothes, because that would raj. Actually, it's the same as rage, raga, rakta. It's all the colouring and also emotional colouring. They go back to the same root. This goes down an entertaining rabbit hole that I will force myself out of for the purposes of this level. So Rajako sahayena saha sartakam dhovati. Okay, the dyer, the washerman, sartakam dhovati, is washing a garment, sahayena saha, with his friend. Macha pitakam ha patanti. The fish are falling out of the basket. Chora pasanehi varahe paharanti. The thieves, the chora varahe paharanti, are hitting the pigs, the boars, pasanehi, with stones. They're pelting the boars with stones. Amacho pasadamha subam aharati. The minister, Suva Maharati, is bringing a parrot, pasadamha, from the palace. And that's it for lesson 5. Sorry, lesson 4.